morning, guys. Good morning. I don't know if I should say good afternoon because I'm gonna probably post this in the afternoon. Good afternoon, guys. Good morning, guys. Good morning, guys. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another video by Sam. My name is Sam, and today I am going to do a story time. Today, the date is the 31st of December 2023. It is the last day of the year, and it is also a Sunday. So, as everyone knows, generally around this time, everyone wants to recreate themselves. You want to start the new year on a positive note. You want to change a couple things. You want to fix this and that and the next thing. And one of the things that is a constant in the new year, I want to change this, I want to become more of this, is strengthening faith. And as a result, a lot of people intend to be more active in going to church, in participating in strengthening their faith, in getting closer to God and all of those things. So today's story time is about the reason why I'm not as avid a churchgoer and my faith has deteriorated over like the last 5-6 years. So it's the reason as to why I'm in the space that I'm in now. Excuse me. It's the reason as to why I'm in the space that I'm in now, and also the reason why I am not in a space where I can say I am ready to recommit to being part of a bigger congregation, being part of a bigger collective that goes to church weekly or is actively seeking faith together as part of a group. So disclaimers before people sue me. Please don't sue me. Please don't sue me. This video is not intended to offend anyone. This video is not intended to offend anyone. This video is not intended to insinuate or to allege anything or to say certain people are doing certain things. This video is based solely on my personal experiences and my personal feelings and the reason that I am where I am now. Yes, it is based on true events. I am not saying people intended to do the things that they did. I am not saying people are bad people or anything like that. Literally, this is just my personal experience. Please don't sue me. Please don't sue me. Please don't get your churches to sue me. I am honestly just stating my part. Disclaimer out of the way. This is not, no. I'm not alleging anything. I'm not saying anyone did anything. I am just saying what I experienced. Okay. Moving forward. I hope that was clear. I really hope that was clear. Okay. So let me give you background as to how we even got to a point where I got to that. So as a child and an infant, I was born into the Apostle Church, the 12th Apostle. Ukoko my great grandmother, was a member of the 12 Apostles, and she raised us in that church. And then when I started school, and my mom's sisters, who I grew up with my mom's sisters. My family tree is very interesting. I grew up with my mom's sisters. So we went to a Catholic primary school. And then because we were at a Catholic primary school, my mom's sisters decided it would be better if we joined a Catholic church. That way the things we were being taught at school were supplemented by the things that we were learning at church, and we were not disadvantaged because we did religious studies at school. We were not disadvantaged where certain things were celebrated in the Catholic church and then we come to school and then they celebrate it and we don't really have an understanding of what's going on. So then we joined the Catholic church. I think I must have been 7 or 8. I was in grade 1. How old are people in grade 1? 7 or 8. How old do you start school? 6. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. So I must have been like 6 turning 7. So we joined the Catholic Church in our neighborhood, and that's when the journey started. So when we joined the church, we got baptized, and then we got our first Holy Communion, and then after years and years, well, in my case, after years and years and years, I then got confirmed. But that's just the progression of things in the church. And then, so we joined the church when I was 7. I was obviously a kid at that stage. I was just coming to learning things. Was I 7? I must have been. I think so. Because we matriculated in 07. In 07, I was in grade 4. And she joined the school in grade 10. So that was 2 years prior. 7, 06, 05. So maybe I was in grade 2. Let's say I was in grade 2. Because I do know that I was a little bit smart enough to have learned all the prayers. So I don't think a 7-year-old. Yeah, let's say I was in grade 2. Let's say I was 8. Let's say I was 8. I'm gonna conclude that I was 8 from my rough calculations. I must have been like 8. Okay. So we joined the church at 8 when I was 8, and then we went through the process of getting baptized. So that takes about a year, depending on when you start and how fast you catch on to things and everything. So then I was baptized, and then I didn't get confirmed that year. I got confirmed the next year because I was in grade 3 when I got confirmed. I remember because one time we went to church at school, and I went to get Holy Communion, and everyone was looking at me saying, I'm not allowed to, I'm too young. But I had already gone through and gotten my communion. So I got baptized in grade 2, and then I got my first Holy Communion in grade 3. And then after your first Holy Communion, you kind of have an understanding, a greater understanding, a brighter understanding, more open eyes to the things that happen in the church and what you're expected to do and everything, and you can learn more. So then you're allowed to start now joining solidarities. That's what they're called. Solidarities, like church groups that like teach you more, and you go further into like a specific realm. I'm gonna call it a realm, a specific realm, or like a specific parts of the church and the teachings of like a specific, let me say, saint or stuff like that. Okay, so grade 3 I got my first Holy Communion, and then I tried to join the altar service, but I was too young, and then it didn't work out, so then I didn't. And a couple years after that, I think it must have been like 2-3 years, the church started another group entered into the church. It was started in the church. It exists everywhere. It existed everywhere else. A lot of other places had it. We just didn't have one at the church. So when it started, I was very interested. Now at this point, I'm 12 years old. 12 years old, so I have a lot more understanding, and I can grasp things better, and I can understand what's going on. So at 12, I then joined this particular group, and so the point of joining the group was so that I can grow in my faith. My intentions was so I can get a better understanding, and I can actually understand. And when people ask me questions about church, and they were like, yeah, you people, you play statues and whatnot, I can have answers, you know, because I didn't believe that we play statues. And in all honesty, Catholics don't pray statues. Let's not have that argument. They don't pray statues. They don't pray statues. You can't tell me that in your house you don't have pictures of your relatives that have passed away hanging still in the house as a remembrance. You're not praying to their pictures. You just have them there as a remembrance. So stop saying Catholics are praising statues. Stop it. Just stop it. Please. Please stop it. You're offending other people. Catholics are not praising statues. Now that that's clear. Then I joined this group at 12. And it was very nice. It was very nice. It was a small group of young girls. We were all around the same age group. So we were all going through this journey together. Very lovely group of girls. Had the best time of my life with them. Journeyed through learning more about my faith and being stronger in my faith. I was with them for like, I think 7-8 years. It was an amazing time. It was an amazing time. And you know what, the stumbling blocks, everyone has drama, everyone has things that happen. And as you're growing older, as you're going becoming a teenager and you're going through the adolescent stage, obviously you're going to bump heads, you're going to, but I learned a lot. I made a lot of friends from just being part of that group. And I have learned a lot of life skills as well. A lot of life skills. Because that being part of that group really put the foundation, as part of the foundation of who I became later on in life, because it instilled certain values and attributes and beliefs and a way of life in me that didn't allow me to take specific routes in life and do certain things that I feel like had I been someone that went those routes, I wouldn't be where I am today. So personally, very grateful for the teachings that I got from that experience. It was probably the biggest part of my teenage years into my 20s, my very early 20s. That was a big part of who I am. It's still a big part of the way I carry myself in public and around people today. I have a lot of respect for elders. I have a lot of respect for myself. I have a lot of respect for my body. I have a lot of respect for other people and how they present themselves and how I accept them, because we were taught those values from basically a young age. So because I grew up with those values, I am where I am today because I got those teachings. So personally, very grateful. But also the other side of the coin was that I experienced, or I saw a lot at a very young age. So when you're growing up in the church, in any church, I feel, when you're growing up in any church, you kind of have rose-colored glasses because you don't see all the politics of church. You don't see all the things that are going on in the background. You don't see all the things that go into what then becomes your Sunday service and what then becomes the celebrations that you have at church and all of those things. So you don't see all of those things because you're young. So you're protected from them. But because we were full-fledged solidarity and we were recognized as our own people, we were all unfortunately exposed to that at a young age. And now you're getting exposed to church politics and the way the people, the elders in the church that you're supposed to look up to, that are supposed to be teaching you things and showing you how you're supposed to live by the Bible, are behaving. And then at that age, also, you're confused. You're confused because you're a teenager, you're going through your own adolescence, you're going through your own emotional turmoil of, maybe I shouldn't be even wasting my time and being at church. Maybe I should join the people that are out grieving and gallivanting all the time. But you still want to have this relationship with God because you started building it at such a young age that it feels wrong for you to abandon it, right? So it's a very conflicting time. It's a very conflicting time, and I feel I feel like I didn't know how to handle all of the emotions that were coming at me all at once. I am a very vocal person. I am extremely confident. It's a blessing and a curse. I will always say this. It's a blessing and a curse because my confidence in myself and in the things I believe has led me to opening my mouth when I should have kept it shut. I still open my mouth when I should have kept it. I feel like now that I've grown a little bit older, I do kind of learn to, okay, let me keep quiet and see how this unfolds, and then maybe I can say something. But as a 15-16-year-old, if you were offending me, I was very ready with an answer. I was always very ready with an answer. And so I clashed a lot with this particular person that was supposed to be leading me. I clashed because her and I did not see eye to eye. And I feel like, looking back now, we didn't see eye to eye from the beginning, from the start. Like from when she started the solidarity and I joined, her and I did not see eye to eye. She did not like me. I didn't understand why she didn't like me. To the point that I'll probably go into the particular stories that I might reference through this another time, because they are their own stories, they are their own drama engulfed in them. There was a particular time where she got one of the older girls from another church. She got one of the older girls from another church to come and talk to me because I have a big mouth and I like running it and I don't have respect. Those were her words. So she was like, I'm very disrespectful. I don't know how to speak to my elders and she needs to try and put me in line. So this girl comes and talks to me and she says, I saw you interacting with her, and I saw how she treated you, and your response to her was you were giving her back what she was giving you. So I've always been a firm believer in you must teach adults to respect you. Adults do not deserve your respect outright. They don't have a right to get your respect. Respect is earned. Respect is a two-way street. If I'm gonna give you respect, you must give me respect. And if you're gonna start being disrespectful to me, guess what? You're gonna get what you're giving back, because it's a two-way street. I can't just respect you solely on the basis that you're an adult when you are disregarding my feelings constantly. There's absolutely no reason for me to even think about you as a human being, because you cannot see me as one. I've always been a firm believer in that. Also a firm believer in adults need to be disciplined. They don't know what they do. They need to be disciplined. They feel like because they're adults, they can get away. They need to be disciplined. Also, don't forgive adults that are not sorry. If you're not sorry, you're not so. I'm not going to forgive you. Even if God says I'm not going to forgive you. You are not forgiven. I will move past it, but you are not. I will remember until I go 6 feet under. That is the Taurus in me. But anyways, back to the story. So she then comes and she says this to me. So I'm like to her, you know, the first problem that we have is not everyone comes from the same household. Not everyone comes from the same household. And the way that our parish was, is there were families that were kind of elite because they came from specific families, and those families have been part of the church for years and years and years. And then there's people that, yeah, the families are there, but they don't really have the elite status. Yeah, you're recognized. Yes, you'll get respect because, you know, your mother and your grandmother are part of the church. And then there's us, you know. Then there's us, the last category, where we joined the church on our own. We don't have parents here at the church. So, basically to them. And we can't have our own say. So I recognize that very quickly. Another, I think, a thing that probably came from being exposed to adults and adult behavior at a young age is then I saw patterns. So she had a specific way of treating specific people, and then she had a specific way of treating other people. So I fell in the category where that she didn't recognize. She didn't want to recognize. She didn't want to see. She didn't want to give me special treatment. She didn't want to even give me any sort of treatment. She didn't want to even pass down what she intended to pass down to me, which is the teachings of the Bible and everything, because I wasn't part of the elite group that she wanted to get praises from. And unfortunately for her, I was quite close to people that were in that group. So if we are sitting together and all of us are doing the same thing, but you're gonna only shout at me, guess what? I'm going to see that you're only shouting at me and you're not shouting at the rest of them, and I'm going to retaliate. So this girl recognized that, and she was like to me, you know, I am seeing how she's treating you, and I don't know if this is something that has been coming a long time and you and her have just had clashes and now she's just written you off, or if this is a specific problem. So then I said to her, you know, I talk a lot. I know I talk a lot, but generally when people tell me to keep quiet, I keep quiet. But if you're going to mistreat me, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to accept being mistreated because I didn't do anything to deserve it. I'm a child. How are you fighting with a child because you are mistreating them and they're telling you, please stop mistreating me? Like, how are you? How? Like, does that make sense? Does it make sense for you to be fighting with a child because you're mistreating them and they are retaliating against the mistreatment? So then that girl was like to me, okay, I'm going to say to you, just sit with me for the remainder of this thing that we're at, so that you're not around her and she's not constantly provoking you, because it's going to taint your whole experience. This is very early in like me being part of this group. It's like maybe first year, second year, right? And she says that, and I'm like, no, it's fine, I'll sit with you. And then like she was recognized as a very good character. She was a very good role model for everyone in that group, and all of the adults wanted us to look up to her and to be more like her and to follow in her footsteps and everything. So then she takes me under her wing, right? She takes me under her wing, and her and I have this bond and relationship, right? And she's telling me, okay, do this. So I learned to keep quiet. Over time, I learned to keep quiet, but she continued with her behavior. And now, the thing is, now I'm 17, 18, and I'm like, no. And also at this point, the people that she was treating as eggs had mostly left. They had stopped being part of the group, and they had gone their own separate ways. And there was very few left. I think there was maybe 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 2 or 3. that were left, and even they were not keen on being too involved. So now she had to now start grooming other people, right? Because she wasn't supposed to lead us, she wasn't supposed to make the decisions for us. She was just supposed to be there as a guide, right? To tell us, okay, now you guys are losing track and whatnot. And that was the other thing. So when she started, she was doing everything, and we were fine with it because she's an adult and we don't know what we're doing. And then when we met other churches, we were then told, no, you guys make the decisions, you guys are the ones that are supposed to be running things. She's just there to guide you and tell you, okay, here you're losing track, okay, fix this, okay, let's do this like this. But she's not the one that's supposed to. And then I had a problem with that also. Like, babes, it's not your thing, this thing. You are here to guide us. You are not supposed to be making out decisions for us. Can you please stop like trying to make everything so your way? Like, loosen the reins so we can actually learn to stand on our own. Eventually she did get the picture and she did learn to loosen the reins. Maybe it was a thing of it's still too early, I'm not sure if you guys are ready and whatnot, but she did eventually loosen the reins. And at that point, her elite people were no longer part of the group, and so she had to give it to the people that have been there the longest, which was me and a couple of other people. And at this point, this is when now you really see the belly of the beast of the church. This is when I really opened my eyes and I really saw all the politics. And I think the biggest part of the reason why I feel like I'm not ready to be part of a church is because I saw the politics at such a young age, and I saw the pettiness of them. And then because I saw how petty the things were, I was like to myself, you can't be telling us to live by the Bible. You can't be telling us to live by God's values. And you can't be telling us Jesus did this, God did that, Mary did this. And then you turn around and you're doing the absolute opposites. You're doing the opposite of what you're teaching us. Like, you can't not be practicing what you preach. Like, why are you giving us lip service? And then on top of the lip service that we were getting, now I'm done with school now. I'm a first year university, and yeah, I go and I study philosophy. And we go through the specific module in philosophy called religion, and it spins you, right? It spins your understanding, it spins your thinking, it spins you, right? So I was spinning, right? Okay, so I study philosophy of religion, and now you must really be strong in your faith for you to continue being someone with faith after that, because the first thing they teach you is it is wrong always for anyone to believe anything anywhere upon insufficient evidence. And you can't prove that God exists, you can't prove that Jesus exists, because that is based on faith, and faith technically isn't something you should be basing any decision on. So also, this was taught literally, I kid you not, the Tuesday after Easter Monday. We just resurrected Jesus. We just resurrected Jesus the other day, and yesterday we were celebrating that he's awake. Uvugile, yay. And then literally the next morning you get to class and they're like, there's no such thing as God, and you're like, what? what? Yeah. Anyways, that was the tangent. I go on a lot of tangents. Let me stop talking about the tangents. Anyways, so at this point now, I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, if you're going to be religious, you really need to be strong in your faith. You really need to believe that there is a reason for this mustard seed of faith to be growing and to become something. Okay, my sisters are arriving back from church. They went to church, I didn't go. They're arriving back from church, and one thing about this family, they're loud. So I'm gonna quickly go open the door for them because I had locked everything. I'm gonna quickly go open the door for them, and I'm gonna ask them to keep quiet. But yeah, they come back from church. I don't go to church. So I was talking about mustard seeds. So if you're going to be religious, you really need to really believe in the reasoning and the reasoning behind this mustard seed growing, right? This mustard seed, your mustard seed of faith growing and becoming strong, you really need to believe that everything that it comes with and everything that it's involved with exists. So personally, I had no reason to not believe in my faith and in everything that the teaching had. No reason to not believe in my faith, because I have been growing my faith from, at that point I was what, 18, 19, from 12. So I had like 7 years of having invested in the faith that I had. So because I had invested in it for so long, I was young, I had pretty stable roots, in my personal opinion. I had pretty stable roots, and I had no reason to leave my faith. I had no reason to not believe in my faith. Yes, there were different faiths, and I was a very open person. From being in high school, I was around a lot of people from different religions, and I was always open to learning about the religions, and I could draw similarities from the different religions. Like, yes, we may not believe in the same stories, but when you look at them, they kind of derive from the same thing, right? They derive from the same thing, and at the end of the day, we all believe in a higher power and a deity, and we all believe there's someone else that has forged our path for us, and we must just not blindly follow in that path, but believe in the process of following that path. Yes, you're going to move, you're going to get lost, you're going to try and take shortcuts, but you'll always come back to whatever it is was intended for you. And so I continued, and then now, because I was supposedly a leader of the group, I then started getting involved in a lot more politics. Now I had to see other things. I honestly feel like my brain at that age was not at a space where was not at a space where it was mature enough to look past all the small nitty-gritty details of this is a means to an end and all of these things. I honestly, I could not see the God in half of the things that were happening. I couldn't see a God in half of the things that were happening. And then a specific incident happened that was the nail in the coffin for me. It was a nail in the, because I had overlooked so many things. I learned to overlook things for such a long time that I started overlooking the small details, like, oh, that lady is very big and spiritual in front of people, but she mistreats her children. Oh, that one said to her child in the middle of a meeting, you know, and you're like, yo, okay. And you look past it, you're like, okay, maybe this is just how they talk. And then you start realizing the people that are so big and spiritual, their kids don't come to the church, right? And then you see them in meetings, and then you see how they talk, and you're like, your child probably knows the side of you, and they're like, Utandaza so much, you pray so much for someone that behaves like this. And then you're like, okay, maybe the children are seeing more, because obviously if you're at church and you're in front of people, you're going to dilute your behavior. If you know that, okay, my behavior is not really always aligned with what the Bible preaches and what I'm preaching and what I'm telling people to do, what I'm teaching the little kids to do. And then, like, you see small things like that. You see, yo, and then you sometimes hear from the kids that, oh, this one, special case, you know? And then those things accumulate. So after, because I think I stopped at 22. Yeah, 22. I think I was 22 when I was just like, it's enough. I've seen enough. I actually need a break. I need to figure out if this is who I am and this is what I want. I feel like it was accumulation of being exposed to that for so long. And it got to a point where I couldn't tolerate it anymore. I couldn't take it anymore. And then a specific incident happened. And when this specific incident happened, it was the nail in the coffin. So what happened, it was Holy Saturday. Holy Saturday is the day after Good Friday, before Easter Sunday. It was Holy Saturday, and at church we normally had a night vigil. So we would have a whole night church, and then in the morning we would celebrate Jesus resurrecting, and then we have mass, and then we go home. So a couple weeks before that, we had a retreat. So a retreat is like a spiritual uplifting. So we would all come together for the day. We would pray. We would talk about the difficulties that we're having. We would pray for those specific things, and we would pray for intentions. We would renew our faith, basically. We would renew our faith. We would breathe new air into our candles that we are lighting, that are supposed to help blossom our faith. So we had that, and then we were talking about issues that we were having, and we had issues where people were there but they were not really there. or like people would come and be part of the group, and then there's specific rules that you must follow, there's specific things that we do, and then you are specifically going against them, and whenever we reprimand you, you will retaliate. And then this particular person, what had happened is she kept doing things that were wrong constantly, and we would fine her because that's what the books said, right? And those are the rules that we had. So we would fine her, and then her mom would come and literally throw fits and tell us we don't have the right to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. So because I feel like because she knew she had her mom to come and back her up and basically bully us into agreeing with whatever she's doing, she kept doing it and kept doing it, and it got to a point where she just stopped coming completely. And then the priest had asked us to go and ask the people that have stopped coming completely, are they still part of the group, and if they're not, can they please let us know, and can they please bring back what they're supposed to, because you know what you're supposed to be doing. Fine. So then we go approach this girl, and we approached her on Friday, on Good Friday, because we hadn't seen her in so long. So we asked her what was going on, and she didn't really give us a straight answer. And then we asked her, we said, okay, the priest asked us to pass along this message, so if you could maybe do what you need to do, that'd be great. And we leave. The next day I go to church, and her mother comes for me. She is shouting at me from head to toe, and I'm like, why are you shouting? I'm like, why are you shouting? What is the reason for you to be shouting? You don't know how to reprimand your child. You come and you act holier than thou, but then your actions are the opposite of what they're supposed to be. And then you're also teaching your child that. So when we try and bring your child back, you don't want her to come back. What is the problem? In all honesty, if you had a problem with what I said, you can really bring it up with the priest, because this is literally a direct message from the priest. I didn't come up with this thing on my own, right? And she continues shouting me, and then she leaves, right? Now I'm upset, and my heart is literally shattered, broken, because I came here to celebrate, I came here to have a good time, and you've literally just broken my spirit. It was the nail on the coffin. Like, the way she treated me was so bad that I cried, and I called my mom to come get me. I cried, and I called home, and I was like, please come and get me. I'm not going to stay here anymore. And my sisters and our friends were there at the church. I didn't even tell anyone. I went back inside the church, because she asked to come talk to me. So I left all my stuff there. So I went back into the church. I got my phone, and they saw tears streaming down my face. I went outside into the hall, and I called my mom to come and get me. So now everyone's trying to calm me down and tell me not to go and all of these things, and I'm just like, I'm so upset. I'm so upset because I can't, I can't keep making excuses for people that are obviously they don't see the reason to be acting the way they should be acting, or the way they say everyone else should be acting. So I was very upset. So I cried, and then they called my sisters or my aunts. They called my aunts, and then they asked them to come talk to me, and I wasn't having it. I wasn't having it. So they called my spiritual mother, and then she came and talked to me, and she tried to calm me down, and she was like, just enjoy mass, and then we'll discuss this later. I was still hurt. I feel like even today I'm still hurt, because she's never seen a problem with what you did. She's never seen an issue with what you did. So, and then on top of that, okay, so eventually I stopped crying, and then I make my way back to church. And when I make my way back to church, she has a group of older women that she's relaying the story to. And at that point I was like, there's no need. There's absolutely zero purpose in me being part of this church. I am gaining nothing. Spiritually, I'm gaining nothing. I have been giving and giving, and I get zero back. So I went back to church, inside the church, because they were like, no, don't leave and whatnot. So I was like, okay, it's fine. You know what? I don't want this to become drama that's spilling over even more. Let me just let it go and enjoy mass, and then I'll take it from there. But you see, when I saw that group of women, my heart shattered, because so many of them were people that I looked up to, and they were older women that would always lend themselves to you whenever you wanted to seek advice. And and then it's like, you're the same people that are then happy to hear what's going on, and that means you guys are also that type of people. That means you guys are also that type. That in my mind was made up at that point. And although some of them have kind of did redeem themselves, because one of them was my friend's mother, and she told my friend what happened. So my friend didn't know what happened. So when my friend came and talked to me about it, she's like, yeah, mom's not happy with how you were treated. Also, she just wanted me to say sorry. And I was like, okay, so not everyone is agreeing with her, but also no one ever reprimanded her, because she never came to apologize for what she did, or how she treated me, or how she made me feel. She never saw a reason to apologize. Also, then, because this thing was quite big, my outburst was quite big, the priest got involved, and he did nothing about it. Also, he just brushed it off, and other leaders in the church got involved, because I was crying in public, so it did become quite a big thing. But ever since that day, even when I go to the church and everyone's like, oh, come back, I'm always like, I can't. I can't. I can never look past the behaviors in this church, because they have been groomed and they have been allowed to fester for so long that nothing good's ever gonna come out of them. So that's the reason why I stopped being an avid churchgoer. Like I used to be very spiritual. I used to die for church, and I kid you not, it was almost an instantaneous feeling where I dropped church like this. Like it was never the same. After that day, it was never the same. My spiritual mother came and talked to me, and my mom. It's not the first time. It's not the first time that my feelings have been hurt and I've come back from church or from a retreat or from camp or anything, and I'm not fine. And every time I keep saying, I'm not there for the people, I'm there for my faith, I'm there for God, I'm there for this. But every time it's constant, and it's gotten to the point where I don't want to anymore. I got to that point where I was like, I can't do this to myself constantly, where I keep trying to get something and I'm not getting anything out, to the point that actually at that point, I took a couple weeks and months maybe just thinking about the implications of everything, and I was just like to myself, I don't know what it is that God is testing me about, but I don't get it. I don't get it. Why do you let this keep happening to me unless I'm in the wrong space? So I decided that I was in the wrong space. That space was not for me. That space was not for me. And then, at that point when you're sitting and reflecting by yourself, a lot was coming back. The older girl that said to me, you probably have something that is bigger than other people, and people are trying to break it on you. And then a couple years later, another older girl that was part of the group, was from a totally different church and had never even met the other one, was like, there's no way that you keep getting attacked, and it's always you that's getting attacked if you have nothing to give. Maybe if you sit and you try and give that thing, maybe the attacks will lessen, and they never did. And then again, after this, my spiritual mother, I love her to bits. I still talk to her every now and again. Love her to bits. She came, she was like, I honestly feel, I've always felt like you had something bigger, because before she became our guide, there was just another lady in the church, and she always saw my conflict with the guy that was there, and she said, I always watched you fight her, and every time she would come and report that you're fighting her, I would see her point, but I would also feel like there's something else, there's something bigger, there's something undercover that we haven't uncovered. So I don't know if I have a gift of some sort. Maybe it's just because I talk too much. I feel like it's just because I talk too much. Excuse me. But yeah, she was always like, that day she came to me and she was like, I feel like you have a gift, and whatever gift this is, it's so big that you don't know how to deal with it yet. You haven't found a way to harness it. And because you also don't know how to deal with it, you don't know how to navigate it, the people that can feel the energy of it are not happy with it. And then they come for you and they are succeeding in breaking you down. And it's been 5 years since the incident, it's been 5 years since the incident when I just decided it wasn't for me anymore, and I don't feel any different. I don't feel like there's been any growth in the people that have offended me and in the behavior in that specific church, just based off the drama that happened in the last couple of months also in that specific church. I don't feel like it's a space where I can go and grow and rebuild my faith. I would probably need to find a totally different place to try and rebuild my faith. And then there comes the downsides of being someone that built their faith in a Catholic church. It's hard for you to go to other places. You always want to stick to the teachings that you have, because the Catholic Church is quite stringent, it's quite strict, so it's hard for you because that's kind of all you've known. So that's what I've had trouble with. I've had trouble navigating, trying to go to different churches and trying to build my faith off there, because I'm not accustomed to the traditions that are in those spaces. So I'm really struggling with that, and whenever I try and go find another Catholic church to go to, I don't have a sense of comfort. So yeah, that's why I am ending this year on the same space that I started this year, where I'm not sure if I'm ready to rebuild my faith and go back to church and be a faith person. I do pray. I still pray the rosary. I have, I think, 3 or 4 rosaries. I have one in my car. I have one in my pencil case. I have one in my bedroom, and I have one in my laptop bag. I still pray my rosary. I still do the novena. I do all of the teachings that I learned at the church, but I do them on my own because I'm not comfortable being in a space with people. I feel like I've taken too many knocks. I've taken too many knocks from people that should have known better, that I don't know if I can trust being in a space like that. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning into my video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys do have any questions, please don't feel shy to put any in the comments. I will respond. If you guys have any advice that you would like to give me, I'm open to advices. Thank you so much for tuning into my video. Please don't forget to comment, please don't forget to like, and please don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.